We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast, the powerful video library. And, if you care about other people, do you care about other people? My guess is you're going to say, oh, I care a lot about other people. And I'd be like, do you talk care or do care? And you probably are like, what's the difference? And it's like, you probably talk care. And so, like, sharing these, like having conversations, you guys, is there any of you that um, think you care about people, um, and you'd like me to challenge that?
Sure. I like to be challenged.
All right. So Dale likes to be challenged. So, do you think you care about people?
I say yes.
Do you think you're a control freak?
No.
Really?
It depends on what level of control freak.
Like, like you purposely control your wife to where you don't expose her to anything that might create any type of a disruption with her, with you. And so you control, like a small child, you control what she sees and what she hears to make sure that it doesn't challenge her.
Trying to
He's
think of
thinking a long
instances.
time. This is
I'm
long,
trying to think of instances.
right?
I can't think of anything, but I'm sure there is. I do. So I want to know what it is.
Right. So, like, my guess is that you're not sharing any of these podcasts with your wife. Would that be fair to say?
I It's ironic because I listened to him and she was like, "What are you listening to?" I was like, "That Mark guy." He's like, "Why are you listening to him still?"
Right? Like she's threatened by me. Like, she wants to meet me, but she doesn't. She's like, who is he? And why is my husband? Why is my husband like what's interesting? So I don't know if she's talked to you yet about it, but sometimes she's going to. She's going to ask you if I'm a cult leader.
A roundabout way she meant, well, not
Okay,
necessarily
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
she's like,
So
why are you wasting your time?
right. Why are you wasting your time? Like women, like she's so intrigued because it's like, why is like, and so next time, she insinuates or just comes right and asks you his cult leader and say, I don't know if he is or not. If he is, he's a terrible cult leader. Like the guy can't even get people to use a checklist. Like if he is a cult leader, he's a bad, bad cult leader. And so when we look at the video for today, when we look at the video for today, and that's compliments of Patrick Ryan and his wife, because his wife was asking him the same thing, like, why do you hang around Mark? Like, is he a cult leader or something? And so, seriously, it's it's so interesting. It's like, huh? Like, um, and so Dale's interesting because he actually looked at my website, the website somebody created for me, and he went ahead and, it was funny because he kind of made a joke about it, about how old it was or something. It's like 1990s, I think he said, or something. And
Correct.
I said, right, it's obvious that I'm not trying to make money. And he's like, yep, it's obvious you're not trying to make money from this. So what do you guys think about this, this video?
Found it very ironic because I was actually just talking to a friend this week about people being sheep or trying to figure out if it's because people were being sheep with their current actions that they're taking. As I was trying to
Interesting,
figure it out, then this video popped up. I was like, "Oh, how fitting."
right? And so we've already kind of determined that there might be some questions about control issues with your wife. So have her watch this video, then she'll realize the guy's charming. Like he's kind of funny, kind of quirky. Like he's not like any other, podcast guy. Like he doesn't really care if anybody watches him. He doesn't care about what his numbers are. He doesn't care because he's got, he's very confident about his identity. People who aren't confident about their identity, you know, they they want to they want to they want to like control how people are thinking about them. They want to do all of that. So have her watch this one. That would be a lot of fun. And man, I'd love to have her. Like Luke, he's Amish. And one of the things he said, something, I think, Luke, I was surprised. Luke Miller said something about he liked Disney. Is that true, Luke Miller? Or is that kind of hidden because you're Amish and you can't say that? Or if
I
I'm
like what?
Disney?
I did not say
You didn't
that.
say that. Okay. He kind of rejected that. Like, I did not say that. And so, like, I'm like, huh, maybe he did.
That was actually more like I did not say that.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. You could go back and listen. Anyways, getting back to this. So Dale, we're going to do a little test because he likes to be challenged. Okay. If you change that, just say, Mark, I changed my mind. Don't challenge me. And we'll just not do that. But do you care about your friend?
I only have one, so that makes sense. Yes.
So your wife's not your friend?
No.
Okay. I can't understand why he doesn't go ahead and have his wife listen. She gonna be ticked. She gonna be ticked on that. Like, man, I'm glad this guy doesn't have a big audience.
That's what she says.
What's that?
She said, yeah. She just says don't talk to him too much about anything because he probably doesn't have a big enough. No, then I said he doesn't have a big enough audience. It won't get out there anywhere.
Right? I mean, he's got that pesky little thing, that life vision that was given to him when he was 8, that he's going to impact 8 billion people. So wouldn't that be weird? Like, oops, like,
Exactly.
oops, honey, sorry. He didn't really, like, it's just, he's so quirky. Anyways, so did you share this with your one friend, this video, and say, that's weird, we were talking about this, and all of a sudden the video came up? Did you immediately think of your friend and say, I'm going to share this video with him?
I just watched it when I woke up this morning, and I thought about I need to share it with him. So I have not yet, but that was my
Okay,
plan.
but at least you've thought about it. Most of the
Yep.
time, that's all you have to do. Is I was thinking about being nice and caring, and that counts. Like, that's really cool. So, what else did you guys think about the video?
It was kind of epic.
Right, but
Like
use words to explain what that means to you, Luke.
like the little kid was, or the big kid was, he was picking on the little kid, and then the little kid was like, "Yes, sir." And then the dad asked the big kid, "Did you finish the job?" Like,
Right?
yeah.
You guys love as much as I love the mom's response. Like, she's classic. Like, that's just so that's so it's so everything. Did you guys notice that?
About her just being quiet.
Well, she was more than quiet.
She
She
did
was
not
emotional.
like what was happening.
Oh, because of her actions,
Yeah,
her visual
her
cues.
body language, like women, like she's like, and did you see how he responds? Here's this guy that's this crazy animal. Like, guy's an animal. Like, he's just an animal. And how his wife controlled him, like she just like, look at it again and look at the woman and look at the power that she has. Like, it's just okay. What else did you guys love about this video clip?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, Ben,
You
you should
suck,
watch it.
Ben.
Watch it right now, just on the side. Watch it right now because it'll be interesting if you see the things that that I see, that your dad sees. Because so watch it right now, quick, before I share what I'm going to share. Anybody else see anything on this?
Right at the
Oh,
end of the
the dad is like, if you ever become a wolf, I will kick your ass.
Right. So what is that? What does that reveal to you?
He's got morals.
What else?
This just from the one movie.
Yeah, American Sniper.
Yeah,
There's an immense, maybe not, maybe it's fear, maybe it's respect from the boys to their dad.
Well, right. What was the dad? What was he aware of?
that it can happen.
What can happen?
That his kids could become wolves.
And why could they become wolves?
Because he probably was a wolf at one point.
Okay. Anybody else have any other ideas?
Because of the choices they make.
Okay. Anybody else? See,
Probably knew someone.
go ahead.
Probably knew someone.
Okay. Could be. See, he was intentional as a dad, and what was he training his boys to be?
Dog.
Sheepdogs. He was
No,
training them to
sheepdog.
be a sheepdog. And when you train somebody to be a sheepdog, they can go over to the other side. They can go over to the dark side because you're training them how to move people and how to protect people and how to manipulate and leverage things. So you're teaching your boys, this is what I'm teaching you how to do these things. And he had an awareness that that could go dark, that could go. And he put a threat out there to his sons, like, I'll kill you. You go into the dark side. You misuse the powers that I have given you as a dad, and I'll kill you. So it reminds me of my oldest son when he was probably 12 years old. And he had, 4 younger sisters, and, and he was homeschooled, and his 2 youngest brothers hadn't been born yet, or they were just born. So he was pretty much in an all female world. Even his, piano teacher was female. So poor guy, had some empathy for him. Not easy being in a all female thing. And so he had issues with women. He had issues with females. And so one day I came home and my wife Rosanna said, she just looked at me and she said, you got to do something with him. I mean, this kid's out of he's out of control. Like he's just like you gotta help me. I'm drowning here. 12-year-old. So I go into his room and I say, "Hey, Jonathan, buddy," and he looks down. He says, "Hey, Dad." Like he knew, he knew. You know any husbands that are wusses? They don't protect their wives. They actually don't protect them from the kids, or worse yet, they get the kids to gang up on the wife. Like, if you know any men who are wusses, go ahead and pass this video along to them because this isn't going to go well for them. Anyways, so I
Let them
said,
watch videos.
I said to Jonathan, I said, "Hey, bud." He says, "Yeah, Dad." He says, "I'm sorry." I said, "Right." And he said, and he's like, "Hey," I said, "Hey, buddy, you're having some issues with respecting and honoring your mom." He's like, "I know, Dad. Eh, you know, I know." And I said, "You need to understand something here, buddy." He's like, "Okay." And I said, "You need to honor your mom and respect her because God says to. Like, this is just God ordained it. You have to respect your mom, and women, you have to do that." He's like, "Okay, Dad, I get that." And I said, "Now, if that's not enough motivation, and it should be, but if it's not enough motivation, then you need to respect her because you and I are buddies. You don't understand this at 12 years old, but you'll understand it later in life. And that is that when you make your mom's life hard, you make my life hard. So, like, I come home and I want to play with you and I want to goof around and I want to wrestle. I want to do all these cool things with you. And so, you and I are friends. So be nice to your mom, like, because that's good. And that helps me." He's like, "Okay, Dad, I get that." And then I said, paused, and then I said, and if that's not enough motivation, and it should be, buddy, but if it's not enough motivation, and then I just looked him square in the eye, man to man, and I just said, "Buddy, you respect her because she's my wife. If you don't, I will kill you." And he's like, "Okay, Dad, got it." Okay, yep. And I said, and I, really just straight on iron, don't mess with my wife. Just don't do it. He's like, "Okay, I got it, Dad." And I said, "Now, which of the three do you think that I want you to, which of the three motivations? And he's like, number one, you want number one? I said, yeah, that would be my preferred. I don't want to go to number two or number three, but I will if I need to. He's like, okay, I got it. So it's funny. He was in his mid-20s, and I was sharing this story with my international speaking coach and another, very high, powerful woman. And I shared that story, and they said, oh, Mark, that was abusive. That created drama. That messed him up. I'm like, really? I don't think it did. I think that's how you go ahead and teach boys to be men, and you put the fear of God in them or the fear of dad in them. I mean, it's like, this is what you do. So I went back to him. I said, hey, Jonathan, like he's 25 years old. I said, remember when we had that conversation when you were 12? He's like, oh yeah, Dad, I remember that. I said, was that like bad or traumatic? He's like, oh no, Dad. No, I got it. I understood. And so there's something about that. There's something about that it's teaching men to be men. And it's teaching them. I mean, men are just, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing. I knew one young guy who was talking to his wife, and he said, hey, honey, you know that I would go ahead and give my life for you, don't you? And she said, I do. I know. And this is probably what Dale's wife is a little concerned about. She doesn't have to be any concern about this. I'm very careful with my stories, like not to identify who's, especially with women. I'm very careful about not, outing them or anything like that. So I'm very careful. Anyways, so this guy said to his wife, like, you do know that, I would give my life to you. And she said, I do. And then he said, you do know that I would go ahead and give my life for a total stranger, right? And she's like, I do. Then he asked, what was he thinking? Like, what was he thinking? Then he asked her a question. Hey, sweetheart, I'm just curious. Would you give your life for me? And she kind of stumbled around and so, man, they get beat up in the press and they get beat up in a whole bunch of things, and they just get beat up a lot. And I think that's part of being a man. Like, you know what, man up, just do it. I remember Jonathan too, when he was probably about 15, 16, 17 years old, and he went for a job interview, and there was a Latino that got the job and he didn't. And he says, Dad, he comes home, he's like, Dad, I think I got reverse discrimination. I think a Latino went in, got the job, So, what's the dad going to say about that? Well, this is what I told him. I said, well, bud, I said, that can happen. Like being a white male, it's getting harder. It's getting harder. I said, so, might have happened, but suck it up, buttercup. You're a white male. Get out there and get another job. And maybe it wasn't reverse discrimination. Maybe he just interviewed better than you did. Like, you ever think of that, buddy? So this is where dads tend to go ahead and, teach their men, like, you know what? Take ownership. Don't be a baby. Like, man up. Like, figure it out. Make it happen. Like, it's just, this is just man on man stuff. Like, this is just amazing. This is why single moms that raise powerful men, I just have so much of a heart for them. It's like, how do you do that? How do you be the mom and the dad? I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't know. Other thoughts or questions on this video?
After the kid or after the whole thing, it was like, did you finish him? Like, yes. Then you know who you are. You know your purpose.
Right? I get tingles. Like, it's just,
my thing is like okay, that was way back when. This is now. How do I apply that now in today? Like, it's not physical, it's emotional.
So my wife has been concerned for years. I mean, in my 30s, so I'm 60 now. In my 30s, she started to become concerned that somebody was going to come and kill me. Which I thought at the time, you know, wow, that really nice of my wife. She's concerned for me. Later on in life, I started to realize maybe she was afraid they were going to miss, and when they're shooting me and hit her or one of the kids. Like, oops. Like, I was thinking she loved me, but maybe there's an ulterior motive. I don't know. Is she on? If I am, oh, I gotta be careful. I'm sure it was
I
not
am. I am.
I'm sure she was just worried that she was gonna lose the moneymaker.
that, right? The economic engine. Like,
Right.
Is
and
that my
so
son that's talking?
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah, now he's married. It's now he has some understanding. It's like, I'm this is interesting. It's a little
Right.
different. Like well, I think all my sons have said, Dad, I was pretty harsh on you and how you sometimes spoke to mom, you know. But now that I'm married, okay, I understand things are often not what they seem to be. Other thoughts or questions on this video?
Not on the video, but I just wanted to let Luke know that yes, I did fill out those identity things a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Got it. Did you do step 2 and 3?
Did you go ahead and notify him that there was a step 2 and 3, Luke?
I did not know.
Do you think your dad was going to do that for you?
Was that 4 pages? Because I did that step 2 and it has 4 different pages and it says like 3 on it.
Did you get into the spreadsheet?
Yep, I did the spreadsheet as well.
Okay,
Which
And
actually
so-
the spreadsheet I filled out, then you had entered in information, I think.
gotcha. And then I think Luke is the furthest along in that identity project. So now there's step 2A and step 2B, and then there might be a step 3. And then once you finish all of those, I think the key is you can't work ahead. So you can't see what the end result is. Nobody knows what the end result is except for me. And I think it's going to be one of those movies that you knew what you might have thought you knew what the end was going to be on the movie, and then all of a sudden the end is very different than what you thought. And you're like, I never saw that coming. That is insane. So,
Okay. Well, I'll call you later, Dale, on it.
Perfect.
so what is it that's so intriguing about Dale to you guys?
Yeah, nothing. See, I'm not that intriguing, Mark. You got it all wrong.
So I'm trying to tee you guys up here for something here. You got to make a guest feel important and valuable. So you got to, like, sorry if I didn't, give you guys enough time to. So why am I saying that?
He's
you
pretty put
see-
together for his age.
How old do you think he is?
25.
5.
I'll take it.
Right. So, Dale, how old are you?
What year is it? I'm 43.
43. Nice. Cool.
Maybe
Ben
it's the
thought-
lighting. Am I missing something here?
It's because we don't have kids. We don't have a Ben. I'm just kidding.
I see.
Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
that'll definitely put some age on you.
Right. So why am I saying that, why did I ask the question?
Because you see something.
What am I seeing?
Something in Dale. I don't know.
Well, I saw something in Dale the first time we talked. So I did see something in him the first time that we talked. but both you and Ben have expressed interest. Now, Luke, I know that you've expressed interest. Ben has expressed interest in, Dale, and I don't know why, and I don't really care. I think it's good. I think it's cool. I think it's good for Dale. I think it's good for you guys. I think that he's going to have some wisdom and insight for you guys. I think that generationally, when you combine generations, so one of the things that I have is I try to have 3 people in every generation. So I'm 60 now. So when I was 50, I had, a little chart in my journal book, and I had who are the 3 people that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. And so when my mom and dad died, they were both in mid 70s. So I lost 2 people. When my grandmother died, she was 99 years old. So I lost somebody in that age. It's harder to replace those kind of people. But now I've got 3 people in their 80s that are, grew up Amish, very successful businessmen, and I get together with them. So I'm very intentional about having people in different age ranges.
Are you happy that you have me selected as 25?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's working whatever I'm doing, which I don't know what it is.
So, all right, we have 2 minutes before we go into the passion. Oh, so there's a 5:30. Like, why would somebody listen to a rebroadcast of a podcast? Why would somebody listen to a podcast rather than a live? That's like going to a, if you had the opportunity to go to a live concert or listen to it on, listen to it on the radio, which one would you do? I'm not going to say, listen to it on the
Podcast.
radio, because my wife would go ahead and might be upset with me. So I'd rather go to, a live concert for sure, especially if it's with my wife. So you might say, so Mark, was that a lie? It's like, no, I'm just being nice. Anyways, and so there's a live podcast on Fridays at 5:30 in the morning AM for Podcast for Young Men. And so that one you can go and participate live. You go to www.ravingfan, ravingfan.net, www.ravingfan.net, and you can participate in that live. There's a whole bunch of different ones, and so we're going to wrap this one up and go into the
Quick question before you do that.
For passions. Sorry.
For those videos that you go live on, is there like a setup on your website to look for those due to the most recent? Because I've been looking for some, or how soon are they uploaded once they're recorded?
They're typically uploaded within 3 or 4 days.
Okay. And is there a way to find the most recent one, or is there not? Because I've looked through this 90s website and have not figured that out.
Yeah, we like to keep it a secret.
Okay.
So you have to look through the thousands of them, and you're like, wow, that was a really cool one.
I have found very cool ones. Yes.
Right. So yeah, no, it's working just as it's planned. So I'm sure Ben and Luke, can help you find them for sure. I'm sure they know where they're at and what they do and all that kind of stuff. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. If you thought this was good, man, you can't even imagine what the next one's going to be like. If you thought this one just honestly sucked, don't worry, stick around for the next one. Sometimes we make some really, really bad, so the next one looks better. So hopefully, remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.